Right. On that note, it's time to welcome our next guest now. On Sunday, she and partner JJ Chalmers became the 6th pair to be voted out of Strictly Come Dancing after Shirley was forced to use her casting vote again.
Yeah, the night ended in tears for them and millions watching because of a secret Amy had been hiding for the past 8 weeks.
I can't quite express what she means to me because, listen, she has lived through so much in her own right, in fairness. And I know that any day she can wake up and she can, she can be hospitalized, essentially. And so she lives fearing that she's going to let people down. But the way you have built me up, you could never let me down.
Thank you.
Amy, welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you for having me.
I was in bits watching that on Saturday night as JJ was sort of doing his farewell speech, if you like, or Sunday night rather, of course. Did you know that was coming? I suppose you don't plan those speeches, do you?
And you never know when you're going to be leaving the competition. And actually, in my speech, it just felt like I was talking to Tess and JJ. I, completely forgot there was cameras or anybody else there. No, and I think, JJ and I have just had such a lovely journey. We've become the best of friends, and and as you can see, it left me quite emotional.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you're a very emotional person, and I get that. And it's a big deal, isn't it? And it's interesting that we're talking about this secret that you've been keeping. Before we talk further, can you just explain a bit about what Crohn's disease is?
So Crohn's disease is inflammation to the digestive system. So it can start from the mouth and it can affect the entire colon. It can cause narrowing to the intestine, ulcers, inflammation, and everybody has different symptoms, and unfortunately it's a chronic illness, so at the moment there's no cure.
I mean, this is something that, you've been hospitalised with over 100 times.
Yeah.
But it's actually the one thing that kind of pushed you into doing the show, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. So I've suffered since I was 11 years old. I wasn't diagnosed until I was 19. But when I was 19, I was hospitalised for 6 weeks at one time, and I missed out on the British Championships. And I knew what it felt like to have my dancing taken away from me. And yeah, I think I wanted to prove I can do this. And my dancing for me was my saviour. It put me in my happy place. And and it took me away from my worries. And and when people told me, oh, I don't think you're going to be able to make it, or I was turned down some fabulous opportunities for dancing because of my Crohn's, I was like, how dare they? They're not living in my body. And I think it kind of made me more determined to prove that I can do this, and no one's going to take away my biggest passion in life.
But despite the fact that you get so ill, I know you just hate letting people down.
Yeah.
That's what bothers you, isn't it?
Yeah.
The BBC documentary, it's still on iPlayer at the moment, and it's a very emotional watch. We chose this clip of when you went back home to Caerphilly to see Mum and Dad, and your dad is explaining the pain you're in going to a competition because the pressure you're putting on yourself, and you just don't want to let anyone down.
You had a big competition.
Well,
and you went in on the Friday, and you rang me up in the hospital. And then you had 2 intravenous strips. And your arm was infected where the drip was. And you said, I don't want to be hurt at. I should be going to a competition today with my dance partner.
It's just brutal, isn't it?
It really is so brave as well, because a lot of people don't like talking about it, do they?
no, I think no one likes to talk about bowels and guts, and there's so much stigma around it. And I guess that, I was guilty of that as well. And since actually opening up and talking about it, I've made some new friends. I've got a Crohn's Queens WhatsApp group, and I just feel more comfortable in myself actually now as well. And and I would, to anybody out there living with any chronic illness, disability, not to be scared, because the support I've had has been incredible.
Well, lots of people, you've made a difference, because people are messaging us right now. Jeanette on Twitter says, my sister has had Crohn's disease for over 20 years. She's had lots of operations and tried various treatments. I think a current one, stomach injections, keeps things on an even keel. but she has to be careful with what she eats. I really feel for my sister and for Amy as well. It does affect so many parts of your life, but one thing that's affected your wedding is of course, COVID with Benny Boy. What's happening with that? Because I've got an invite, you know. I'm up for a wedding. When's it happening?
So at the moment, obviously, with COVID, you know, it's unsure, hopefully 2021. So, yeah, but obviously, you know, the vaccine's out today, so who knows?
Yes,
so, yeah,
it's great news, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Amy, it's so lovely to see you. Thank you for coming to Morning Live.
Yeah,
Hey,
thank
do you wanna